Good day children, Sai Ram and welcome back to our next session of geography. That here in this session we are going to revise all the lessons. Now children, as we know we have all finished all the lessons in geography. Okay, now we are going to revise one lesson. So let's start with the second lesson, that is endogenetic movement. Now children, I hope you all remember what is endogenetic movement. Endogenetic movement is that movement which takes place inside the earth's surface. Okay, and just because of this movement, what happens? The earthquakes, the volcanoes take place. Okay, this movement in the earth's interior occur in the upper layer of the mantle. Okay, where is this movement occurring? It is taking place in the upper layer of the mantle. Okay, and because of which tremendous energy is released, and because of this energy which is released, radioactive materials in the mantle which travel from one place to the another causes instability. Okay, now let's see the classification of the internal movements. Now whatever internal movements are taking place, its velocity, its direction and landforms are classified over here. Okay, if we talk about velocity, there are two types of velocity, slow movement and sudden movement. Okay, we have already learned about what is slow movement and what is sudden movement. Okay, now what is the direction of this internal movement? Horizontal direction, upward movement, then downward movement. Okay, these are the direction of the internal movements. And what are the landform formed because of this? Continent building can take place, mountain building can take place. Okay, so this is the classification of internal movements. Nextly, we are going to see is the slow movement. Okay, slow movements are of two types. One is fold mountains and the other one is block mountains. Okay, what is fold mountains? Because of the energy waves and pressure working towards each other. Okay, that also in a horizontal direction, the layers of soft rocks which are present, okay, they form a fold on it. Okay, and just because of this fold, a different type of landform is formed, like the mountains can take place. Okay, like the mountains can be formed. Example of the fold mountains is the Himalayas, the Aravallis, the Rockies, the Andes, the Alps. Okay, all these are the examples of fold mountains. Okay, next one is block mountains. At times what happens, the energy which is uh, forming a fault. Okay, and just because of this fault, what happens, a part of the land gets uplifted. Okay, at times the land gets uplifted, or at times the land can submerge also. Okay, and when it is submerging, it is forming a valley, and when it is uplifting, it is forming a block mountain. Example of a block mountain, children, Meghalaya Plateau. Okay, Meghalaya Plateau of India is the example of block mountain. And even the Black Forest mountain also is an example. Okay children, so I hope you all have understood what is block mountains. I hope we have revised it properly. What is fold mountains and block mountains. Yes, I had told you about the Rift Valley also. Okay, when the fracture is created, when a fault is created, at times a block of land, either it goes up or either it gets submerged. Okay, when it subsides or submerged down, okay, what happens? A rift valley is formed. Okay, example of the rift valley is the rift valley of river Narmada. Okay, the great rift valley of Africa, the Rhine river rift valley of Europe. These are the examples of rift valley. Okay, when a land is subsiding, a valley is formed, and when the land is getting going upwards, when a block is going upward, that is called as a block mountain. Okay, here is an example of a rift valley. I told you a part of the land which gets down, subsides down. Okay, gets submerged down. Okay, that part becomes the valley over here. Now let's see how a continent building is done. Because of this block mountain and because of this um such type of slow movement only. Okay, a continent is built. Slow movement occurs towards the center or from center towards the crust. Because of this, a part of the Earth's crust is uplifted or it gets subsided. Okay, just now we have seen the Block Mountain and the Rift Valley. Okay, either the part of it gets uplifted or either it gets subsided. When the Earth's crust is uplifted, continents are formed or extensive plateaus can be formed. Okay, when the part gets uplifted, either continent can be formed or a extensive plateau can be formed. Okay, in the continental portion of the crust subsides below the sea level, it forms a part of the seabed. Okay, if the land is subsiding too much, okay, then it can form the part of the seabed also. Now, this is what we have learned about the slow movement. Okay, now let's see the sudden movement. As we have already learned about the sudden movement. Okay, which are the sudden movement, children? Yes, earthquakes and volcanoes. So firstly, we'll start with the earthquakes. Okay, earthquake. Earth here means the ground. And the quake means the trembling of the ground. We have seen the magnitude and the effects of the earthquake. Okay, now let's learn about the sudden movements called earthquakes and volcanoes. Now firstly we'll talk about is the earthquakes. Movements occurring in the interior of the earth because of which tremendous tension is created. And when the tension goes beyond limit, okay, when the tension is unbearable, that time what happened? The energy is released in the form of waves. Okay, and just because of these waves which are released, what happens? The trembling of the ground starts. Okay, and the result is trembling of the earth's surface. The magnitude of the earthquake is measured by an instrument called as Richter scale. Okay, how much magnitude, how much range of the earthquake is there? That is measured with the help of instrument called as Richter scale. You can see over here a simple seismogram and graph of it. Now what is a seismogram, children? Yes, it is showing the magnitude of the earthquake. Now let's see what are the causes of the earthquake. Okay, because when the earthquake takes place, what are the actual causes behind the earthquake taking place? First of all, the plates are moving of the plates. Okay, because of the moving of the plates, the earthquake can take place. Because of the colliding of the plates, dashing of the plates on one above the other. Okay, that is called as colliding of the plates. There also earthquake can take place. Then at times what happens? These plates which are there, they slide one below the other. Okay, that also can cause earthquake. Then fractures are formed in the rock. Okay, due to tension in the interior of the earth. Okay, and occurring of volcanic eruption also can cause earthquakes. So these are the causes of earthquake. Okay, children, I hope you all have understood till here. Now let's learn in detail about the earthquake. From where actually this earthquake is originating. So firstly we'll see about the focus and the epicenter of the earthquake. Firstly we'll talk is focus. What is a focus? When high energy is released at the place where tension mounts up is the center of the earthquake, and this is only called as focus or hypocenter. So in general we can call the center of the earthquake as focus or hypocenter, where the actual energy is released. Okay, when the tension gets mount up, okay, when the tension gets collected one above the other, okay, and when the energy is released, and that is only called as focus or hypocenter. The place on the earth's surface where these energy waves reach first, that is called as the epicenter of the earthquake. Okay, the place on the earth's surface. Now it is not inside the earth's surface we are talking about. We are talking about on the top of the earth's surface where these energy waves reach first. Okay, that becomes the epicenter of the earthquakes. So the focus is different and epicenter is different. Now the epicenter which is there, it is perpendicular to the focus. Exactly, it is perpendicular to the focus. The place where the focus is formed, okay, exactly perpendicular to that is the epicenter. The tension released at the focus travels in all directions and comes to the surface in the form of waves called as seismic waves. Okay, now when the tension is released at the focus, it travels in all directions and comes out to the surface in the form of waves. And these waves are called as seismic waves. Okay, children. So here we are going to revise about the seismic wave now. Okay, do you all remember, children, which are the type of seismic waves? Primary waves, secondary waves and surface waves. Okay. Here you can see the focus. Okay, the black color dot in the middle you can see, that is the focus, and exactly perpendicular to that is your epicenter. Okay, then you can see the energy is distributed. Okay, you can see the primary waves, the secondary waves. Okay, then when it is reaching out to the surface, it is called as surface waves. So these are the types of seismic waves. Now, what is primary waves or P waves? Okay, the primary waves or P waves are the waves which reach out to the earth's surface first. They are the first one to reach out to the earth's surface. They travel very fast from the focus in radial direction. Okay, the waves here, they move to and fro. Therefore, they are also called as forward-backward waves. So, what are the primary waves called as? Forward-backward waves, because they move to and fro. These waves can travel through all three states, that is liquid state, solid states and gaseous state also. Okay, but when it is passing through liquid, it changes its direction. Okay, when the waves are passing through the liquid state, it starts changing the direction. So here in such a when these primary waves reach out to the surface, the buildings, they move back and forth. Okay, the buildings over there start moving back and forth where the earthquake is taking place. Next is the secondary waves. After the primary waves, the secondary waves reach out to the surface. Okay, these waves scatter in all directions from the focus. Velocity is less than the P waves. That is the speed. The speed of the secondary waves is lesser than the P waves. Now, in the case of secondary waves, the particles that are coming in the way, they move up and down, they jump. Okay, these waves can only travel through solid state as they get absorbed in liquid state. Okay, so the secondary waves get absorbed in the liquid state. So they only travel through the solid state. In case of secondary waves, the buildings on the earth's surface move up and down. As I had told you, they start jumping and hence are more destructive than the P waves. In the case of P waves, only they to and fro they move. Okay, but in the case of secondary waves, they start jumping, and because of which a lot of destruction takes place. Okay, children. Next is the surface waves. Surface waves generated after the P waves and the S waves. Okay, they travel in the direction of the circumference of the earth along the crust. They are highly destructive. So the surface waves are also very much destructive. Okay, next is the seismogram. What is a seismogram? Seismogram is a graph prepared to know the magnitude, okay, of the earthquake. A graph showing movement of seismic waves can be generated using it. After studying the graph, the magnitude of the earthquake is known. Okay, we can come to know about the magnitude. How much magnitude the earthquake was, we can come to know after studying the graph. Okay, children, I hope you all have understood till here. Okay, children, that's all for today. The remaining part of the lesson, revision, will do in the next lecture. Till then, thank you, children.